Alright, it's time to get back to our regularly scheduled programming. We're doing a little bit of catch-up here because we missed Chapter 7 of our book, which is called Harvard and the Birth of a Nation. So let's go ahead and dive right in. This chapter covers a very exciting period in Harvard's history, where the fledgling college becomes, if not officially, then at least unofficially, a part of the American Revolution and helps lay the foundation for the new nation that would eventually replace British colonial rule. But before we jump into it, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on social media. Also, be sure to visit our website. Okay, so the opening of the chapter gives us some historical context for the revolution that has been building since the end of the French and Indian War. Things are tense between Great Britain and her American colonies, and there is a lot of tension being built over things like taxation without representation. And according to historian Nathalie Handel, who wrote this book by 1763, only 2 years after the end of the French and Indian War, anti-British feeling ran so high that the students at Harvard, and she's talking about Harvard College here, not necessarily the modern university, but Harvard College, specifically, they were celebrating the anniversary of the war's end by burning an effigy of William Pitt the Elder. For those of you who don't remember, William Pitt the Elder was a British statesman whose policies towards the colonies caused much consternation among the colonists. He is the one responsible for a lot of the taxation without representation stuff that we learned about in school. Anyway, all this mounting tension comes to a head in 1770, when British soldiers fire on a crowd of unarmed protesters in Boston, killing 5 and instantly escalating tensions between the colonies and Britain. Meanwhile, back at Harvard, the students are planning their annual holiday celebration, which they intend to hold at the home of John Hancock, a wealthy merchant and smuggler, and also a graduate of Harvard College, class of 1754. Now, the celebrations do last long, because word comes that British troops are heading to Cambridge to put down the rebellion. And so the college president and several faculty members ask the students to vacate the dormitories and turn them over to the military. The soldiers arrive on October and move right in, turning Harvard College into barracks for the troops, and so the school closes down for the next 2 years. Now, while the students are gone, their president, Edward Holyoake, refuses to leave Cambridge, and he's not alone. Faculty members stay behind as well, sharing the campus with British soldiers and making the best of a bad situation. It wasn't all that bad, really. Historian Handel writes, "The soldiers respected the college's property. They paid for firewood and they even pitched tents on the parade ground to keep out of the president's S-way." So that's the backdrop for this chapter. It opens with the closure of the college in 1770 and runs through the official end of hostilities in 1783. During these years, Harvard College graduates play key roles in the fight for independence, both military and political, and help shape the new nation. Let's meet some of them. John Hancock, whom I mentioned earlier, is probably the most well-known of Harvard's revolutionary generation. He's the richest man in Boston, importing wine, sugar, spices, and other luxury goods from Europe. When he's not celebrating with Harvard students, he's helping to organize resistance to British policies, smuggling goods to avoid paying taxes, or as he will soon do, commanding the militia. At the start of the revolution, he sends his servants and slaves away to avoid their capture by the British. And when the Revolutionary War breaks out in 1775, he joins the Massachusetts Committee of Safety, which oversees the raising of troops and directs the defense of Boston. When the fighting begins, he leaves his civilian life behind and takes command of the militia, becoming one of the first major figures in the Continental Army. Meanwhile, British authorities charge him with crimes against the crown and seize his estate. After the war ends, he serves as governor of the newly independent Massachusetts Bay. Samuel Adams, another member of Harvard's class of 1754, plays a critical role in whipping up support for the revolution. He's a lawyer by trade, and he uses that training to advocate for colonial rights and freedoms. He organizes groups like the Sons of Liberty, which seeks to undermine British policies through protests and civil disobedience. And he authors inflammatory pamphlets that turn public opinion against the crown. In one case, he organizes a boycott of British goods, which is successful enough that merchants in England lobby Parliament to repeal the offending laws. He attends the Continental Congress in 1774, and he attends the First Provincial Congress in 1775, serving as a delegate from Boston. At the outbreak of war, he supports the Declaration of Independence and helps draft the Massachusetts Constitution, and afterwards, he continues to serve in the Continental Congress until 1785. John Jay, a member of Harvard's class of 1764, goes on to become one of the founding fathers, signing both the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Early in his career, he defends the rights of those accused of crimes in a system he sees as stacked against them. In 1774, he attends the Continental Congress as a delegate from New York and votes in favor of independence. He then travels to France in 1776 to seek military and financial aid, but is unsuccessful. Instead, he goes to Spain, where he signs a trade agreement that allows American ships to carry goods from Spanish America to Europe, duty-free. Afterwards, he returns to New York and chairs the committee that drafts the state constitution. Later, he serves as governor of New York, Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, and U.S. Minister to the United Kingdom. James Bowdoin, another member of Harvard's class of 1764, represents Massachusetts at the Continental Congress and votes in favor of independence. He later serves as governor of Massachusetts from 1797 to 1805. John Lowell, Jr., also a member of the class of 1764, goes on to serve in the Continental Navy during the war. Then afterward, he serves as a U.S. Senator from Massachusetts and is one of the original members of the American Antiquarian Society. Increase Sumner, class of 1769, serves as a chaplain in the Continental Army, then later as a senator from Massachusetts. And finally, Joseph Warren, a member of Harvard's class of 1768, volunteers for the Continental Army Medical Department and serves as regimental surgeon. In 1770, while the students are celebrating their holiday at John Hancock's house, he meets Paul Revere, who tells Warren that the British are coming to arrest him. So Warren grabs his musket and heads to the Old North Church to warn the others. Warren goes on to serve as Major General in the Continental Army, ultimately dying in the Battle of Bunker Hill. In total, at least 250 members of the Harvard community served in the American Revolution, either as officers in the Continental Army or as elected representatives in the Continental Congress. This list includes many prominent figures, such as Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Rush, who attended Harvard for a single year each, but did not graduate. So, now that we've met some of the people involved, let's talk about what happens next. The closing years of the 1700s are a period of intense activity and change for the college and the country. From 1776 to 1783, Harvard's campus is occupied by British troops. The war for independence is raging and the future of the nation is uncertain. But despite these challenges, Harvard's faculty and students are determined to keep the college alive. They defy British orders to close the school and continue to admit new students. By the end of the war, enrollment has nearly doubled. As the war comes to a close, the college begins to plan for its future. In 1784, the Massachusetts General Court grants Harvard a charter, establishing it as a degree-granting institution with the power to confer bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. This is a significant departure from the college's origins, as a school focused solely on training clergy. With this new authority, Harvard begins to expand its curriculum beyond the traditional focus on divinity, theology, and the classics. The school adds courses in law, medicine, and the sciences, laying the foundation for professional schools that will come later. As a result, the student body diversifies, attracting students from a wider range of backgrounds and interests. This shift in focus reflects the changing needs of the nation as it moves forward from the Revolutionary War. The new United States is in need of skilled professionals in fields such as law and medicine to help govern and rebuild the country. Harvard recognizes this need and adapts accordingly, ensuring that it is prepared to meet the challenges of the 21st century. By the end of the chapter, we see a transformed Harvard emerging from the turmoil of the American Revolution. Its facilities have been damaged by war, but its curriculum has been expanded and its student body diversified. The college has played a vital role in shaping the nation's identity, and its graduates are well positioned to lead the new country into the future. The stage is set for the next chapter in Harvard's history. Okay? That's where we'll pick up in our next video. If you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. Check out our website, and as always, thanks for watching.